Welcome back to another Moralis tutorial, and in this video I will teach you how to get started with Web3 quickly. It is going to be super easy and we're going to build a portfolio manager. Now a portfolio manager is a collection of pages and it's so easy to tie them together. But this is very important. Each and every single page of this dApp that we're going to build can be a dApp on its own. That's how powerful this is, guys. Now, Web3 is growing a lot, so let's just get started. Let me show you the ultimate demo first and what is possible if you put time into it and take this to a professional level using the tech I will show you in this video. Now, this application is built with Web3 UI Kit, which is a repo that Moralis created, and the aim with that repo is to make frontend easy for you so you can focus on the Web3 parts of your application. Now let me demonstrate this to you, and we can paste a wallet address in the input field. I pasted Vitalik's wallet address and we can see the tokens that he currently holds. This is really powerful. We can scroll through them and see what he has in his wallet. We can check the NFTs that he holds in a really beautiful and simple way, created, as I said, with the Web3 UI kit. And you can also check the history of this wallet and the different transactions he has done previously. Or you can log in with Web3, connect your wallet using Metamask, for example. And this is the ultimate demo, guys. I'm gonna show you a scaled down version that we can build really quickly. So hang tight, let's jump into that one. Hey, I'm Joseph, your Web3 instructor from Sweden. I've been into crypto since 2017 and have been building in the space since 2021. In my free time, I enjoy playing paddle, going to the gym or hanging out with my dog. I always try to enjoy some good pancakes, but that's for another time. Now let's get back to the video. It's important to get a perspective of what Web3 has been in 2022. And it has been an interesting year where lots of things have happened during 2022. We've seen many more people joining the Web3 space, but also understanding what Web3 really means. And that's important. We have seen wallets coming to market. We have seen trends taking different directions. But for developers, it has been all about building. And building for your own projects, building for hackathons or for your daily job. The most important thing with building has been that UI and user experience has been the main focus. That's why it's so important to understand this and why Web3 UI Kit has been born, to make that easy for you and to make adoption from the mass market easy in 2023. Now, this video isn't supposed to be a roadmap or talking about what has happened in Web3 in 2022, but just to give you a better understanding of what we're gonna show today. And to show you the cool parts that you can, as I said before, you can take parts of this and have them as their own dApp. But if you're putting them together and creating a portfolio manager, that's really powerful and can showcase what you really know and understand within the Web3 space. So I'm so pumped for this video. Let's get started by showing you the scaled down portfolio manager that we will build together. Okay, so let's get right into it, and immediately we can see the connect wallet button in our portfolio manager. Now, before we connect the wallet, we can see on the left side we have the menu, and we're gonna see different data on each and every tab. But for now, we haven't connected the wallet, so we don't see anything. So going back to the home page, we can start by connecting our wallet. And here we're using RainbowKit, and in our case, we wanna connect with Metamask, so let's do that first. And once we are connected, we see a completely different view right here. So obviously we're gonna talk about Web3, but we have different sections and components into this dApp. So let's go through them one by one. First, we have wallet, which we have already looked at, and how to connect the wallet. Then we have something called transactions, we have NFTs, and then we have streams. Now, if we are unsure, I've created this help pop-up section that gives us some information. For example, the user don't see any data if they don't connect their wallet. Now in the token tab, you will see all the tokens owned by this wallet. In the NFT tab, you see all the NFTs owned by this wallet. In the transaction tab, we see all the transactions that this wallet has previously made. And in the streams tab, we either set up a new stream that tracks the transactions of this account or wallet, or we get a video recommendation. And I will show you what that video recommendation is all about. It's if you want to build a bigger dApp using Streams and Firebase. So let's close this one and go through these tabs one by one. And let's start with token, which is where we see the tokens that this wallet currently holds. Now, I've created some test tokens on Moralis network, and I have been really creative with the naming, so have some patience. The first one called test1, and we have 10 of those. Then we have Moralis test token, we have 10 of those as well. And then we have Moralis smart token, and we have 1,000 of those. Now, for creating a token, you can add images or a logo to your token. I didn't, so I've added this sample icon, but if we had an image, it would be shown right here in a beautiful way. Then before we jump into the NFTs, let's take a look at the transaction tab, where we can see specific information about each and every transaction. For example, the from address, the to address, and the transaction hash. And the transaction hash, we can take it and go to Etherscan, get more data about this transaction, or we can add another tab into our dApp, which is get data by transaction hash. So you input this transaction hash and you get a bunch of data for this transaction from which address to which address, the timestamp, the value, and all that kind of stuff. And you can add another dimension to this dApp, to this portfolio manager, that is. So enough about this. Let's see some graphics, and let me demonstrate how you can use the Web3 UI kit to make your dApp look beautiful. And that's what I have done in the NFT tab. So immediately I fetch all the NFTs that this wallet holds. In this case, it's the Polygon network, and we can see how beautiful we can display those. What I have done here is I've imported 2 models from the Web3 UI kit in order for us to make this tab look as nice as it does. Really easy, really simple. I can focus on the Web3 parts, and this will take care of the front-end part for me. But yeah, you can see how quickly we can create this beautiful page. And before we move into Streams, let me show you in the Moralis dashboard first that we haven't created a stream yet. And as you can see, it's empty right here. So there are 2 ways for us to create a stream. We can either create it from here, create it from admin, and add all the information needed. For example, our wallet address. Let's take OpenSea for this example. And then we have some input fields. We can add a webhook URL, a description. This will be shown in the Moralis dashboard, a tag. And let's say you want to connect this stream to Firebase. The tag input would be shown in Firebase, so you can easily distinguish which stream is which in Firebase. Then we choose the specific network, let's say ETH mainnet or Moralis testnet, or another one of these. And then we have some stream options. So what do we want to listen to? Is it contract interaction, native transactions, internal transactions? It's totally up to us. But this is a way to create a stream, right? It's totally manually. You add the wallet address right here, and this stream is for that address only. That's not what we want, okay? So let's delete this one. So we don't have a stream at all. We want to create a stream programmatically and automatically using our code, okay? So what will happen once we go to this stream, we will either set up a stream or see the video recommendation, which means we have a stream already. Now we don't have a stream for this wallet address, so we shouldn't see the video recommendation. And instead we see this message. And if you see this message, it means this wallet didn't have a previously set up of streams, which we saw in the dashboard, it didn't. But now you do. Okay, so what does this mean? Let's go back into the dashboard and reload this page. And voila, we have a new stream set up just like that with one click of a button. Pretty cool in my opinion. So let's go into this. And we can see the wallet address is the one that we are connected with. We have a webhook URL, we have a description, and then we have a tag. All this comes within our code. I will show you how. But also we have the Moralis network that's also through the code. And we have the stream option, which is native transactions. All right, enough about this. Let's go back to the portfolio manager. And now that we have a stream set up, we should see the video recommendation. But this only happens because this is the first time we create the stream. We need to reload this page. And there we have the video recommendation, which is a video of me showing you how to create streams, again, programmatically within your code, but also connecting your streams to Firebase and Firebase database to get all the streams live when they're happening and displaying them in your application. And if you have this stream connected, as we have done for this wallet, we can go off for 2 months and make a bunch of transactions. Once we come back and log into this portfolio manager, we will see all these transactions that has happened during these 2 months in our dApp. So that's pretty cool. Make sure you take a look at this video to find out how you can connect your streams to Firebase. Okay, enough about that. Let's jump straight into the code and see how it looks under the hood. Okay, so let's jump straight into the code, and I have created a root folder called Getting Started with Web3. And within this root folder, we can create 2 folders, one for backend and one for frontend. Now let's start with backend, and inside package.json, I have installed 4 dependencies. We have Moralis, express.env, and course. After this, let's create a .env file in the root folder of backend and add our API key by Moralis. So if you don't have one already, make sure you go to moralis.io to create your account for free. Log into your admin dashboard and then go to Web3 APIs to copy your API key from here. Paste that inside the env file, and then we will be able to use that inside the index.js file, where we import all the dependencies we just installed. Our server, it's an Express server, and it's gonna run on port 5001. Let's also import our API key from the env file so we can use it in here. And at the bottom of this server, we use moralis.start, passing along our API key, and then start listening to our server. And we have a few endpoints on this server. So let's start with the first one, which is the get wallet balance endpoint. And in here, we're using EVM API.token.get wallet token balances endpoint. And this is for us to get all the balances or all the tokens that this wallet holds, as we did in the first tab. And we pass along 2 parameters, the address and the chain, which is the same parameters we will pass along in most of these endpoints, as you will see. And once we get the response back, we're just sending that to the client side. The second endpoint is the get wallet NFT. And here we're using the get wallet NFTs endpoint by Moralis, passing along the same parameters. And this is for us to get the NFTs that this wallet holds and send that response to the client side. The third endpoint being the get wallet transactions, using the get wallet token transfers endpoint that Moralis gives us, and get all the transactions, previous transactions for this wallet, and send that response once again to the client. So there are 2 endpoints left in this backend server, and both are dedicated to streams. So the first one being the get streams, and that's basically where we want to check if there already exists a stream for this connected wallet address in this Moralis dashboard account. And what we're doing, we use the streams and get all method to get, in this case, the 100 streams that exist in this dashboard. We can change this to 2, for example, but it doesn't really matter. We only have 1, so I'm gonna let it be at 100. And once we get this list back, we send that to the client. And in the client side, I'm gonna show you how we go through this list and check if our wallet address already exists in there or not. And if it doesn't, then the client will call the next endpoint, which is the create stream, and that's where we're going to create the stream. And as you saw in the Moralis dashboard, when we create a stream, we can add different values in there. For example, the address, which chain we want to check for, the description, the tag, the webhook URL, and so on. And instead of doing that in the dashboard manually, we can do it right here. So the chain, we use 0x5, which is the chain ID for Guerli. Description is monitor and the wallet address. Tag is the address, and webhook, we have this link that I have used in that Firebase video I linked. So you can check that out to understand what the functionality of this webhook URL is. And then we had some stream options. We have contract interactions. We could check for native transactions or internal transactions, and we want to check for native transactions, so we set this one to true. Then this endpoint doesn't respond with anything to the client side. It's just setting up the stream, and we know now that it is up and running, and we can start listening to it on the client side. So that's it for the backend server. Let's jump straight into frontend instead. And this is a Next.js application. So if we go into package.json, besides these Next.js libraries, we also installed a few other libraries. RainbowKit for connecting the wallet. We have Web3 UI Kit core for adding the icons and making our NFTs look beautiful. And then we also have Axios for doing the request to our servers. And also WAGMI that lets us get our wallet addresses in the different components in an easy way, and also connect this with RainbowKit for connecting our wallet basically. Inside the pages folder, we have a page for each menu tab, but what each and every one of them basically does is rendering its own component. So that's nothing much to get from these pages, from the index being the main one. So we're rendering the header and the main. So let's jump straight into main instead. And here is where we are rendering the connect button that we saw in the beginning. We check if the user is connected or not. And if they aren't connected, then we display this title right here along with the connect button. And if the user is connected, then we render the logged in component, which basically shows us the mind map image that we saw. Then we have the tabs on the left. Okay, so let's start with them one by one. The first one was token, and we can see that using WAGMI, we can use the use account function and get the address that is connected. And with this, we can see that if we have an address, which means the user is connected, then we can do a request to our server on port 5001/getWalletBalance and pass along the address and the chain ID for Guerli to get the tokens that this wallet holds. And once we get those tokens, we save this data in our state variable. And then down here is where we map through that and display some of the values. So the thumbnail, for example, and if that doesn't exist, we show this sample icon that I showed you, and also the name and the amount that we hold. Then if we jump into transaction component, we can see that we're basically doing the same thing. We use use account to get the address, and if we have an address, we call the get wallet transactions endpoint, which checks the previous transactions of this wallet. For this case, we're using the Ethereum mainnet as a chain ID, just to demonstrate how easy it is for you to choose different networks based on the chain ID you pass along as a parameter. And once we get the response back from the backend server, we update our state variable with that response, and we map through result, and we display the from address, the to address, and the transaction hash. And you can see how easy it is. With just a few lines of code, we can get the data pretty quickly and display that in our portfolio manager. Now let's jump into the NFTs, where there's a little bit more happening in here. Obviously, we need to get the address once again. And if we have an address, we're doing another request to our server to the /getWallet NFT. We pass along the address and another chain ID. This time it's Polygon. And once we get the response back, again, we update the state variable. But down here where we render everything, when we map through this state variable, we render this card1 component, which is this one. And in here, we get the data because if you saw, we're passing these two values right here as props, and we can use them in here to get the metadata and then to see if we have an image for this NFT or not. And we can do the same with name. So where we render everything, we're using this card component that's imported by Web3 UI Kit /core and also illustration. And we can display the card, which is looking pretty good. And we can add some titles to it. We can add a description if we want to. We can add an image, which is the image that this NFT has that we took from the data right here. Or if it doesn't exist, we can use the illustration and show this lazy NFT sample image instead. And lastly, we have the streams. So let's take a look at this one, where again we get the address using WAGME, and we're doing a request to 5001/getStreams, because first we want to see if a stream already exists or not. And if you saw in the server right here, when we create the stream, each and every tag is the address itself. So when this list comes back to the client side, we can check that if stream.tag is equal to address. And we do this for every stream that's in this list that came back to see if this address is in there or not. And if it is, we set this variable to true, which is this one up here. So if stream exists is true, then we display the recommended video, which is the one using Firebase. But if this is false, then we see this message, and we also render this create stream, which we import up here from this component. And what this does is it calls the create stream endpoint passing along our address, and this creates a new stream for this wallet address. So it's as easy as that, guys. It's not too much of a hassle. It's not too much of a code. This is pretty straightforward, and I hope you enjoy how I showed you building this portfolio manager. If anything is complicated or you're unsure of something, make sure you post a comment below this video so I can take a look at that and help you out. And before we end this video, we can see that if we go to the different tabs or reload this page and go back to stream, I just want to show you that we see this video. This means the stream still exists, and we don't need to do anything else. We can even log out, disconnect from here, and come back in a month or so and see the same message because the stream already exists. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're building your own portfolio manager or different dApps, and make sure you showcase what you're building using Moralis in the comment section below as well. So I will see you in the next video.